Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me. And I'm back. This is What If Deku Had a Friction Manipulation Quirk Part 2 of 2. As always, if you guys enjoy, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. And also check the links in the description for the Spotify, for the Discord, for the membership, all that good stuff. It helps, it supports me no matter what. And yeah, I appreciate all the love and support that y'all give to the channel. I try my best to give you guys daily content with the what ifs. Sometimes I miss a day, sometimes I don't. Sometimes, you know, like I go on a tiny little break. But I try my best to stay consistent for y'all. I appreciate all the love and support to the channel. Now, I don't want to waste much more of your time, and I want to get right into it. So, let's get it. Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo go head-to-head with All Might himself. Yes, the one and only greatest hero to ever exist. They go one-on-one. Yes, there are some stipulations. All Might is held back by certain degree, but of course, they still want to go head-to-head, and they still want to give it their absolute all. And that's exactly what happens. Izuku is able to even slow down All Might quite a bit, even to the point where All Might is struggling to even lift his legs. I mean, All Might is struggling entirely to like throw normal punches and do various things along those lines. Izuku speeds around and gives Bakugo openings to land explosion after explosion, and they continue to just battle All Might back and forth, giving it their absolute all. But in all honesty, Aizawa was watching, and he's thinking to himself that all they really have to do is speed out of there just with Izuku because of how quick and how fast he is, and they would be allowed to, or be granted, the ability to go to the forest training camp. But it seems as if they want this fight. They want to give it their absolute all. And as the fight would come to its climax, and as All Might would somehow break through the friction, soon he would be about to land a blow on Bakugo, but Izuku grabs him and runs him out of the way just in time as he begins to wrap capture tape around All Might extremely fast. And All Might would realize that the tape, or the capture tape that they're utilizing, is the reason why they he quote unquote fails, but they win this this test, in which Izuku and Bakugo are pretty happy about this, but they refuse to show it, or at least Bakugo refuses to show it to a large extent. I mean, Bakugo is obviously still pretty hard-headed and all that stuff, so he's kind of like, yeah, whatever, like, yeah, we work together, I guess. In which Izuku's like, yeah, I mean, it went great, right? Maybe we should do this more often. In which, of course, Bakugo's like, yeah, hell no. Like, what you talking about? We're not working together more often. You're crazy. And Izuku just shrugs his shoulders and is like, all right, yeah, whatever you say, man. Like, we'll do whatever you want, right? And this would be exciting for Izuku because he just got his first taste at, like, how he would fare against someone to the level of All Might. And even working together with someone like Bakugo, it seems like their skills meld together pretty dang well. And as they all are finished with this, as everything is all said and done, it is now time for them to head to the forest training camp. And the forest training camp is a pretty good time, and it's a good time more because Izuku, Bakugo, and everybody else is able to legitimately get a good bit stronger. And the reason for this is there's really no invasion. There's no invasion here to ensue, and All For One sees things a little bit differently, believing that he can't necessarily send this invasion, and he believes that there's really no point in doing so, at least at this moment. But all the villains that he normally would have, and the villains he would normally have around, or basically get sent toward that forest training camp, would be part of his attack eventually in Japan as well when they go to take down All Might. So after a long bit, about a week and a half of straight up just flat out training, just working hard and doing all he possibly can, and Izuku continues to just get stronger and better and faster, and he's able to utilize his friction-based quirk based on the kind of things that Aizawa has showed him and the training regimen that Aizawa has gifted him and given him, really. And it has helped so much. It has helped him in the progression of his abilities more than you could imagine. And this would, of course, lead them to coming home on a bus, and as this bus ride is happening, they hear a ton of commotion that is involving different attacks that are happening at different areas, and the heroes are all spread out and unable to really help each other to the degree that they need to. Of course, the UA students are really just put on the sidelines. All they could really do is just watch. All they can do is hope that nothing goes wrong and that everything will end up being okay. But as they're watching, as they're intently watching and hoping that everything will ensue in kind of an okay manner, they wonder just a little bit, like, is everything really going to be fine? Like, what's happening? All Might's being attacked by All for One. Everything seems to be going insanely bad for them right now. And all these other villains, Muscular, Dabi, Toga, and so many more are attacking the city. And all the heroes seem to be somewhat overwhelmed by the numbers, at least by the amount of attacks that are happening. Because that includes various different Nomus that continuously attack, and Nomus that are even helping All for One in this fight. Because a fight against All Might, and one that initially he thought would work out a lot better, he decided to add a couple more ideas and add a couple more, you could say, contingency plans. And he's able to really put himself up for a lot more success, leading him to really taking the fight to All Might. And all these other heroes, they're swarming, trying to help out, trying to do something. And Izuku, he looks at the screen and he wants to help. He wants to go. He wants to do something. He can't just watch this. He can't just watch All Might just crumble or fail or lose or anything like that. He can't stand it. He can't stand the idea of just watching his favorite hero, his kind of hero, his mentor, this person that he looks at as such a great hero just fail, right? He can't look at him in that way. He can't watch him fail. And he thinks about it, and he thinks super hard before he does it, but eventually he decides. He immediately would run off, and Aizawa would tell the kid to stop, but he wouldn't use his quirk, as if he knows the kid will somewhat be all right, but he knows that he's making a choice that is going to be very, very important. And as Izuku gets there, he would dash past All for One and inflict him with his kind of friction on the ground. And as he does this, All for One's feet unable to move, and Izuku would run across and stand on a building and yell toward All Might and tell him, "Now, do it now." And as All Might would see this, he would see that All for One is struggling, as if he's stuck in the mud. And immediately All Might would jump up into the sky, and he would land his United States of Smash, just as Nomus are going to actually attack him as well. And Izuku comes out of nowhere to even help him out, getting the Nomus to be stuck in the ground as well to an extent. And All Might would land his United States of Smash, knocking out All for One and defeating him right then and there. But just as this happens, he takes hits from both of the Nomus, but Izuku is able to slow that down just a little bit, but still takes crucial blows where All Might collapses to the ground just as All for One hits the ground, and various other heroes show up just in time to capture all the villains and make sure the Nomus are subdued. And it seems as if everything is alright, but that's not the only thing that they have to worry about. All Might is put into a hospital and hospitalized for a little bit. And the reason for this is the absolute beating he took. The beating he took from what just ensued and what just occurred. And, well, he just doesn't know. He doesn't know what to do. And frankly, All Might is just out for the count. And so many people wonder, is there a way that he gets out of this? Is there a way that he actually is still going to be the hero that we all know and love? Is there a way that he can still be that All Might that saves everybody? But nobody knows for sure. All Might is hospitalized, and the word kind of gets around about what happened to All Might, but also they try to hide the idea that he's extremely injured or that something's wrong, or that he got massively, hurt during the fight or anything like that. They try to hide those ideas. Now, it's kind of hard to do that when it was televised for the most part, but at the same time, they try their best to just keep it away from that, right? They don't want the public to really know. And Izuku is just sad. I mean, he's sad that this happened to All Might, and he does get a punishment and stuff like that. When they go into dorms and stuff, he has to like clean up, and he has to actually clean without using his quirk, which is pretty annoying for him. But he cleans up, and he continues to do this for days on end, and eventually he'd be uplifted from that kind of punishment, you could say, and they would start preparing and prepping and getting ready for their eventual provisional hero license exam. And Izuku, well, he's excited for this, and he can't wait to take on this provisional hero license exam. And as they're preparing, as they're prepping, Izuku really is just happy and ready to go. And as they arrive, and as everybody actually starts being kind of friendly initially, like they're friendly and this and that, Bakugo points out the fact that they're not friendly. They're all faking it. I mean, at the end of the day, they want to beat us, and they see us as the targets because all of us are televised. We're all shown throughout the entire world what we can do, what we're capable of. And immediately, Izuku hears this, and he thinks, you know what? I mean, I'm not going to let my guard off. I'm going to make sure that no one is going to be able to touch us. And he wants them all to know, like, this is going to be, you could say, pretty simple, you could say. And Izuku goes in and he handles business. I mean, he helps his entire class get the outs and kind of the potential eliminations that they need. He dashes around, stops people, halts people, and even kind of gets people out of the way, of harm's way if need be. Izuku runs around as quick as possible, and all of that quote-unquote studying, all that stuff that people were watching, they're starting to realize that really, in all reality, not only did they get stronger, but the speed of Izuku is a totally different idea when it's standing right in front of you. Because yes, they try to knock him off their feet. Yeah, they try to, do this or do that and try to move the ground so that it's harder for him to move. But he's able to control friction so well that when they do this, he's able to just slide his way through, easily catch his balance. His balance is at a peak performance at this point, and he's able to just get around the area and really save himself from falling, getting hurt, or anything like that very, very easily. And he does this with quick succession, leading to them passing the first portion of the provisional hero license exam. And as they proceed to the next portion, the rescue portion, Izuku excels in this. He runs around, scouts areas out, saves a bunch of people, makes sure that they're safe and secure as he runs in and out of different areas. He helps get the wounded to certain areas as well. And this is all stuff that, frankly, he was great at in terms of making things easier to move. He's able to do that, making them frictionless so he can just slide them out of the way, making people even quicker if they know how to properly move with kind of his ability, and so on and so forth. And even this leads them to having a perfect moment, a moment where one of the students from a different school actually sees all the various villains, and Gang Orca eventually show up as the sirens would blare, and he would begin to shake the ground itself, trying to make this wave of earth, kind of making it so that hopefully all the villains and Gang Orca would fall over. And initially, Gang Orca wouldn't. He would actually be able to stand easily in this, but as Izuku would then control friction, making the ground a lot slippery, or basically making it so he just slides immediately, the ground itself would kind of throw Gang Orca and throw all the villains sliding back toward the back wall. And as this happens, immediately the student is like, what the heck? Like, I didn't think that would happen. And which Izuku gives him a little bit of a nudge, basically telling him, like, I got you. Like, we were able to do it. In which Izuku would run off as he would begin to clean up the rest of the villains, getting them kind of stuck in the ground and making it so or they can basically no longer move, and the only person that is left over is Gang Orca. And just as this happens, Izuku would halt him and make it so he can no longer move, and he can barely move his legs, and he would scream toward Todoroki to do it now. Todoroki would send a blast of fire, and Inasa would send a blast of wind, but they would clash against each other, and unfortunately, it just wouldn't work out the way they want to. And Izuku would scream at them, telling them to do it properly, like focus on and stop fighting against each other. And they do it one more time, and it leads to them creating a vortex of flames and wind, and it leads obviously to the eventual kind of dehydration of Gang Orca. But Gang Orca would eventually get rehydrated and start the fight once again, and they would try their best to fend off, eventually leading to the sirens going off once again, and Gang Orca and everybody else would quote-unquote be defeated as the time would be up for the Provisional Hero License exam. Izuku would get outside and eventually get his verdict, and his verdict would be that he actually passes, and passes pretty damn well, like with flying colors. Now, not a perfect score. Nobody is perfect to a large extent, but Izuku did do pretty damn well, leading them to actually getting a little bit of a visit during class from the big three, Mirio, Nejire, and Tamaki. And as this is happening, Mirio tells them all that he wants to fight them all. Like, he wants to go at it and see what they're capable of. And Izuku and Mirio, after, well, his whole class would be on the ground, would have a spectacular fight. Izuku dashes around and tries his best to slow down the fast-paced fighting of Mirio, but at the end of the day, it's not the easiest thing in the world, and they fight to a stalemate. And Izuku is kind of going head-to-head with Mirio, going at it with him, and eventually Aizawa stops the fight and tells them to settle down, and that he doesn't want anybody to get hurt or anybody to, somehow just, have to go to the recovery girls or something like that. And of course, this would lead them to getting some offers for work studies. And Izuku's offer, the one offer that he's excited for, honestly beyond belief, is working with Sir Night-Eye. And once he eventually starts working with Sir Night-Eye, learning from him and stuff like that, they start talking, and they start going talking about different ways he could utilize his quirk, different things he could possibly do. And Sir Night-Eye believes that his potential to being a catch hero, someone who is able to halt somebody or capture somebody or basically put somebody in prison before any more harm is done, is of a high skill and of a high level. And this is something that he believes is extremely useful for something that is of Izuku Midoriya, like his eventual ability to be a hero. And Izuku thanks him, and he believes that to be the truth as well. And he takes him on as another sidekick, and Izuku starts going on patrols with Mirio. And as these patrols are happening, they don't think they're going to come across this person, Overhaul, or the leader of the Shihazaikai, but eventually they do. But there was information that Sir Night-Eye gave Izuku if this was to happen, to make it very calm, act like you're his friend, and then make it so he can no longer move. Make it so that he halts his entire body and he can't touch a single thing. In which Izuku hears this loud and clear. So when he sees Overhaul, he sees that little girl, he would immediately act as if it's all good. Oh yeah, everything. Oh, I get it. Being a parent's hard, and I look forward to my eventual time to be a parent. And then eventually Izuku catches him off guard, making it so he can no longer move his feet, and then on top of that, he can barely move his arms. He tries to get to his hands, literally trying to peel his gloves off, but Izuku makes it even tougher, holding him still with all of the power he possibly can. And he would tell Mirio that he can only hold this so long. The ground is easy, but the air is difficult. He tells him that he needs to get Eri out of here and go get help right now. In which Overhaul's still struggling through the air as if he's going and moving through sludge, and he would be reaching for his gloves. Mirio would take Eri out of there and get her to safety, as he would get a ton of police, other heroes, and other things as well, as Izuku is struggling to hold him still. and Izuku would eventually dive toward him as he's about to peel off a glove, grabbing the gloves and making it so that the gloves would basically stick to the hands of Overhaul. Overhaul would look at him in shock and would try to even peel off the gloves and would start even just straight up just like shredding them, like just ripping them apart to try to get his hands free. And Izuku would still be trying to hold him still, but Overhaul would then go for the ground, about to touch the ground. But as he is, Mirio comes out of nowhere, back already, and would land a blow straight to the face of Overhaul, punching him straight in the gut right after, and then slamming him right into the ground. He would then try to like utilize his quirk to touch the ground and send spikes toward everybody. But as this is happening, other heroes would arrive and help with the capture of Overhaul. And Izuku would kind of stop this, or Izuku and many others would stop the attack of Overhaul and stop any other casualties. And the leader of the Shihazaikai had a very bad day, because all it took was one girl, Eri, to run away and try to kind of, do whatever and try to get away from him. And that led to this one thing. That led to a quick capture, a capture that he never expected to happen in the first place. And this would be shocking. This would shock him to his core, because everything that he worked for, everything he was trying to do, unraveled so quickly. And eventually, Izuku and many others would capture Overhaul, put him behind bars, and Izuku would continue his work not only with Sir Night-Eye, but also the training that he ensues in with the rest of his class, leading him to actually training with Class 1B. Class 1A would face off with Class 1B, and Izuku would find this to be a great joint training exercise. And ironically enough, he actually has a match, a battle with obviously himself, with Mineta, with Mina, and Uraraka, or Achaku Uraraka, and he would face off with 5 other people, 4 from Class 1B and 1 from General Studies, Hitoshi Shinso, someone who he's trained with and worked with actually partially. And they go head to head once again, but Izuku knows his tricks now, and Izuku knows the potential that everyone has. But one singular person makes things a little bit of a wild card, and that is the Phantom Thief, and that is Monoma. Monoma tries his best to even basically steal Izuku's quirk and basically use it for himself, but Izuku would stop him before he can, and Monoma would collapse to the ground, and Izuku would tell him if he utilizes his quirk, he's going to regret it really badly, because when he starts or tried to learn his quirk initially, there was a lot of bumps and bruises. Now imagine if you are learning it at the level that he's at already, and you try to run as fast as possible and slam into a wall. Izuku basically tells him like it was better that it didn't work out the way you wanted it to, because it probably would have ended with you splattered on that wall. As everybody else is wrangled up and captured, Izuku runs around and captures everybody, and Class 1A would be deemed the winners, and not only the winners of this match, but the winners of the overall match as well. And Izuku and his team would show insane capabilities and show off pretty high level of skill, and Izuku would of course impress Aizawa once again, as they would continue their training to make sure that he is sharp and able, and making sure that he's always staying ready. And this training would ensue. They would start working more with their work, the work studies, and working with Sir Night-Eye, and Izuku would keep up with his various amounts of training. And as this is all happening, there's rumors and thoughts and ideas that there's going to be a potential breakout, or a breakout that they're trying to break out the or breakout over or not overall, excuse me, all for one. And this breakout could ensue in the next 3 months, and they're all preparing for this. Everybody is prepping for an eventual arrival of various different villains. And as the day would ensue, as the eventual quote-unquote war or the prison breakout would happen, a giant monstrous creature would be rumbling through the city, and this would be the start of the breakouts. Gigantomachia go charging through, going to try and break through the prison and have it so all the villains and, well, all for one, Shigaraki and many others, Kurogiri, would escape. But of course, Izuku and many other heroes and other people are there to combat the Nomus, high-end Nomus, and also Gigantomachia. Gigantomachia would struggle his way through, and Izuku Midoriya would slow him down to an extent, leading to so the harder hitters and some of the other people that can restrain him have an easier time to do so. And they're trying everything. Midnight is using her like pheromones like crazy to try to knock out Gigantomachia, and with the other Nomus running rampant, a lot of the other heroes are occupied as well. But this does lead to Gigantomachia getting staggered and tired, and eventually would go out completely, and Izuku would be able to not only keep him from moving, making him basically stuck to the ground, but he also is able to run around and help the other heroes with these other Nomus, giving them openings that normally they wouldn't have, and leading to the defeat of various different high-end Nomus and the stoppage of the actual prison break that they were trying to ensue in. Now, as Izuku and all the other classes continue to push this agenda that they're going to be great heroes, and as they continue helping out with not only the Shihazaikai base, which would have been earlier on, but the Shihazaikai base, they helped with obviously before the stoppage of Overhaul and various other things that continue to accumulate from villain after villain after villain. Izuku's hero journey continues all the way to his second year and then eventually his third year, where he's given the opportunity to even be part of the Big Three, joining the likes of Bakugo and Momo Yaoyorozu, and eventually they would be in their graduating class. And Tsunade would see Izuku and Mirio as the next generation for his kind of agency, and even believe that leaving the rest to them is the way to go. As Lemillion is already making a name for himself, climbing the ranks and almost at the #1 spot, Izuku would be graduating UA, giving himself the first opportunity to take that next step to becoming that great hero he wants to be. But being that he is behind the #1 or close to the #1 hero in Lemillion, he has a lot of ground to make up. But luckily enough, he knows a lot about making up ground, and he believes he can do it pretty damn fast as he slides through to become the hero he desires and wants to be so much, because years pass and All Might would pass on, and everybody, yes, they would mourn, but they would see this as an opportunity. It is now their chance, their time, and their kind of ability now to push forward and become the hero that everybody knows they can be, but be the hero that All Might from above can respect, enjoy, and look proud on, as All Might watches everybody else still chase the heroics that and the legacy that he left, but he of course hopes that everybody else will make their own legacies as well with his passing. But with that said, Izuku Midoriya, his journey of being a hero may have just begun, but his effect on his entire world, his country, and so much more will continue on even past this story. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys enjoyed the final part and the series of What If Deku Had a Friction Manipulation Quirk, make sure to show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, and leave a comment down below. All that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.